Welcome to the Edison Field, the former Anaheim Stadium, where the Seattle Mariners are taking on the division-leading Anaheim Angels. First place in the American League West for the first time since April 9th. You haven't missed much. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Dave Barnett and Kevin Kennedy. Darren Erstad leading off against Jeff Fassero of the Mariners. And a 1-2 count to Erstad, the reigning American League Player of the Week, after hitting .448 for the surging Angels last week. Top of the inning went 1-2-3 for Omar, Olivares and the Angels on 3 ground balls to Charles Gibson, Alex Rodriguez, and Ken Griffey Jr. retired in order. This is the leadoff man for Anaheim, and Erstad fisted that time as A-Rod delivers on to first baseman David Segui for the first out in the bottom of the first inning. Kevin, it is a surging Anaheim team that welcomes back Terry Collins tonight after serving an 8-game suspension from that celebrated and reviled fight, depending on how you look at it, June 2nd against Kansas City. 8 games in which he will tell you he was absolutely climbing his hotel walls, and that may be the happiest man to return to his job in America today.
Well, for Terry Collins, it must have seemed like an eternity, because Terry's a very aggressive, assertive guy. He's not a sit-back, lay-back type of guy that can take that very easily. So I know he was watching in the hotel rooms and in the local restaurants, and then his job was to come back after the ball game was over and then get his team prepared for the next day. So he wasn't too far from the ballpark, even though he was not allowed to be in the ballpark.
1 ball and 1 strike to the third baseman, Dave Hollins. As you saw, stand again tonight at .238, 8 home runs, 20 RBIs for the former Mariner. Fassero looking for his first win in a month and a day. His last victory 7 starts ago, and it was his 3rd straight win at that point. May 16th against Toronto, 8-1 over the Blue Jays. The good news is he has won his last 5 decisions when they followed a Mariners loss, and they lost the first game of this series last night 3-2. 3-0 this year, Fassero, after a Mariners defeat. 3-2 after losses last year for Seattle. So he's a pretty good guy to have in this slot in the rotation. Looks in at Hollins at 2-2, and Hollins barely stays alive. Jim Edmonds, the center fielder, is on deck for the Angels. They come in at 40-28, and with the Rangers currently trailing Oakland in the top of the 8th in Arlington 2-0, if that score stands, we'll move 1 full game ahead of Texas in the American League West, which Texas led from April 9th all the way until last night, when they lost 9-7 to the A's, and the Angels won here over Seattle. All Collins can hope to do is not mess up what his coaching staff was able to do in his absence.
Joe Madden goes 6-2, and as the bench coach becomes the interim manager.
Comes in high to Hollins and walks him. So the rest of Collins' lineup this evening for Anaheim, as we said, Jim Edmonds will bat next. He's in center field tonight. Tim Salmon is the DH. Cecil Fielder batting 5th at first. Garrett Anderson batting 6th at right field. The catcher is Phil Nevin, the converted infielder. Justin Bachman is hitting 8th, playing second base. And Gary DiSarcina, having a career year, is batting 9th and playing short. So 1 on with 1 out for Edmonds. .314 with 13 homers, 44 runs batted in. And he takes the ball low. Edmonds with his usual fine numbers and his usual spectacular defense this year for the Angels.
They got a pretty well-balanced ball club. They've got a little speed in the lineup now. I'm anxious to see Justin Bachman, the second baseman, hitting 8th in Terry Collins' lineup. Terry likes to run, and the man he has at first base, Dave Hollins, he'll steal some bases. Terry has a very, very balanced lineup of left-handers, right-handers, some switch hitters, a little bit of speed, a little bit of power, and it's been a joint effort with some of these newcomers, guys like Phil Nevin behind the plate, Justin Bachman at second base, as we mentioned, to go along with DiSarcina at short.
Lou Piniella and the Mariners trying to end a 3-game losing streak tonight. They dropped 8 of their last 10, 12 of their last 15. They briefly got over 500 for the only time this year, May 12th. They were 19-18. Losses since then have totaled 23 in their last 33 games. The numbers for Fassero, 5-3 this year, a 4.22 ERA. Back over the screen, 2 balls and a strike to Edmonds.
Well, this is Jeff Fassero's 13th start, and as you mentioned, Dave, he has not won a game in over a month. May 16th was Jeff's last victory. He's 5-3. Keeps the walks down pretty much. His game is a 2-seam sinking fastball, a hard slider, and when he gets ahead of the count, he likes to go to the forkball to strike hitters out. Gets a lot of ground ball outs, which I'm not so sure is a good thing, because the Seattle defense is last in the American League. It hasn't been a very successful defensive year for the Mariners, and they've got a couple of new players out there. Third baseman Charles Gibson in place of Russ Davis. Second baseman Jeff Husson in place of Joey Cora.
Wary of Hollins and keeping him tight with a hitter's count at 2-1 to Edmonds. Yeah, the 2 problem areas defensively have been second and third base for the Mariners, and for that reason we have a new second and third baseman in the lineup tonight for Lou Piniella. Joey Cora and Russ Davis have combined for 28 errors, and they, along with Randy Johnson, taking the night off. Finally to the plate, and on the inside corner, 2-2.
Little slider by Jeff Fassero. He'll throw his sliders to both sides of the plate, particularly when a right-hander's up. He'll backdoor the slider, and he'll drop it down on the inside corner on right-hand hitters as well.
One of the few smiles anybody's seen from Randy Johnson.
Not too many lately.
The plate at 2-2, and Edmonds finds the hole on the right side. Hollins is going to take third. The Angels have runners on the corners with 1 out in the first. Now the Mariner defense with those new faces that we mentioned.
Well, Glenn Allen Hill has been the mainstay in left field along with Griffey. We've got Buhner back in right field, been back about a week or so. The big guy, thankfully, is David Segui at first base. Made his first error last night, and without David Segui, this club would have about 30 to 40 more errors, according to the Seattle personnel that we talked to before the ball game. Gibson over at third base playing for Russ Davis, who's had a lot of problems throwing the ball away. Some balls have gone through his legs, and so he gets a rest tonight. Gibson is normally a center fielder that plays outstanding defense. He has played some shortstop, did play 9 games at third base in AAA Tacoma, so he gets the call tonight at third for Lou Piniella.
Tim Salmon, the batter, limping most of the year, but it hasn't really hurt him in the average department or the run production department. He has his 35th run batted into the season. A quick base hit to left to drive home Dave Hollins, and it's 1-0 Anaheim.
Well, first ball hitting Tim Salmon got something out over the plate. They were trying to go inside. The ball was left out over the plate. Timmy loads up, gets through that low ball, uses that back leg. The front leg, the left foot, is the one that has been bothering him all season, and he'll have to have some surgery after the year is out. Cannot run at all, limping quite noticeably, but can still swing the bat.
All he can do is DH, and that has caused some defensive shifts, which involve Cecil Fielder taking over at first base, and Darren Erstad moving from first to left field. Fielder deposits one about 4 rows deep. Cecil, who took a long time to rediscover his power stroke this year, but comes in with 11 home runs, 42 RBIs, right behind the numbers posted by Erstad and Edmonds, and hitting .241. Lou Piniella again down early.
Like last night after the loss, I saw Lou. He was almost numb to it. It's almost like he's used to it now, the way the Mariners are finding ways to lose. Defensively, late inning, bullpen has been in dire straits this year.
That one roped the other side, but also foul, and it's 0-2. Has it surprised you that Piniella has not really had a major explosion with all the various ways that the Mariners have found to lose?
Well, a little bit. I mean, I had a chance to manage against Lou a couple of years and got to know him very well, but I think he's trying to be very, very patient with this club. He knows what they have, and he knows who he's going to put out there. He just doesn't know how they're going to perform each night. He's got some talent on this ball club, but they have not put anything together at all this year.
Well, some former players of his have said that current players pick up on his body language, and if he gets tense and he reacts, then that sometimes has a negative effect. But not reacting, apparently not having a positive effect.
Especially if you have a lot of young players on your club, and especially with the pitching staff. They know when they give it up, if they see Lou reacting and throwing things, it doesn't help matters. So he's trying to be more patient this year, probably more so than I've ever seen him.
Fielder working the count to 2-2 against Fassero. Garrett Anderson on deck. The run in, 2 on and 1 out in the first for the Angels. And Fielder down on strikes. His 64th strikeout of the year. Came in tied for 4th in the American League.
That's Jeff Fassero's out pitch, the fork ball that he throws to right-handed hitters. Watch the movement on this ball. A little movement going down out of the zone. Looked pretty good. The fielder thought it was a fastball, and the bottom dropped out of it. Strike 3 for Jeff Fassero.
So with 2 out, Garrett Anderson the batter. Angel right fielder at .293. 8 home runs, equaling his total from all of '97. He also has driven in 33 runs. Good pace based on his career. He has not been a big power producer. He has changed that around a little bit in '98.
Well, teams try to power him up and in, especially when there's a right-hander on the mound. I think Fassero will probably stay away for the most part to get ahead of Garrett Anderson, then try to come up and in.
Ahead of him 0-1 and went to the outside corner and missed. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Garrett Anderson hits left-handers almost as well as right-handers because he does use the field. He'll go with the outside pitch and stroke it into left field. Gets a lot of base hits over there in the left center. As a matter of fact, they're kind of bunching him in left center right now. Hill and Griffey Jr. playing him slightly to left field.
Anderson last night, 3 hits. It was his best night of the year. Won't come through here. Easy 1 hopper for Fassero, who works out of some possible serious damage. He does allow the run on the RBI single by Salmon, and through 1 at the end. 1-0 Angels.
Why is it when you need to tighten something, you can't find the right wrench? Something that works in tight spaces with tough angles and odd sizes. Warren Johnson, the NHRA driver, and his wife and crew chief Arlene have just the answer.
Did you ever get to working on your engine? Space is tight and the handle of your ratchet gets in the way?
That was a problem.
Now Kmart has the tool, the new swivel drive ratchet from GM Goodwrench Tools. Its full 60-degree angular swivel lets you work in the tightest spots. It's torque tested to 180 foot-pounds for really tough jobs, and has a soft back ratcheting action too.
And it's packaged with the universal 7-inch wrench, the only wrench you may ever need. It fits most nuts and bolts because it's fully adjustable, and both tools are guaranteed to last forever. It's a great Father's Day gift at Kmart's low price of just $29.99. Look for it in the car care section at your local Kmart, or call 1-800-813-8810. That's 1-800-813-8810.
Finding the right home equity loan can be puzzling. But with one phone call to Superior Bank FSB, the pieces can begin to fit together nicely. Whether you need to consolidate high-interest debt, pay off overdue credit cards, or get cash for any reason, Superior can help. Because Superior has been helping homeowners for over 75 years, even homeowners who have had credit problems in the past. Call Superior Direct at 1-888-678-7777 and solve your home loan puzzle.
Tune into this year's Service Merchandise Home Run Derby live on ESPN July 6th at 8 p.m. and enter the ESPN Long Ball Sweepstakes. You could win a trip to the 1999 Home Run Derby. Tune in and you could be part of the team.
Terry Collins up 1-0 as we move to the top of the second, and he can't emphasize enough how good it is to be back managing from the dugout.
Well, it's going to be fun again. You know, I've had the toughest week probably of my
many, many years in professional baseball, this past 8 days of sitting and watching, and fortunately our team played great, and that made it easier. Not any more fun necessarily, but easier. And it's just I'm glad to be back in the dugout and be a part of it again, and I just hope we keep playing good.
Jay Buhner, the batter, and sends one relatively deep to Garrett Anderson in right field for the first out of the second inning. Terry Collins was suspended as manager of the Astros for a couple of games, but in the National League, you don't have to leave the entire premises. And he says, doesn't understand the difference between those two leagues in that rule, but in the American League, if you're suspended, you are out after you fill in the lineups. And he was limited to watching on TV from his hotel, if the hotel had the TV feed, which...
One game he had to listen on the radio, we understand, in Texas.
Couldn't take that.
It was tough for Terry.
6 innings of the Texas radio broadcast, all he could stand of that. And then he got packed up to check out of the hotel, went in the hotel van and sat in the ballpark at Arlington's parking lot listening to the van radio for the last 3 innings. He said it's like I was a kid and I didn't have $1 to get into the ballpark again.
Well, as I said, Terry's a very, very hyper, hands-on type of guy, so that really had to drive him nuts. But his bench coach, Joe Madden, took over, and in 8 games they went 6-2, did a very, very good job. And Joe Madden has been an interim manager before, a couple of years ago, for John McNamara after he took over for Marcel Latchman. So Madden's been the bench coach and been with the Angels a long time and did a very good job in Terry's absence.
1-1 pitch over for a strike against David Segui, the number 3 hitter in the American League, come again tonight with that .344 average. 6th in hits, 85 for the year, 9th in on-base percentage, just under 400. Missing outside.
And probably the best fielding first baseman in the American League. Outstanding hands and a strong throwing arm, and has saved a lot of runs defensively this year.
Now you're saying a lot when you're saying he's the best in the American League. But backing that up, as you said, the people that have watched the Mariners all year say there's a good chance he might have saved, what, 16, 17 runs?
Well, I heard even 30 to 40. Maybe that's exaggerating, but
offensively, an improvement over Paul Sorrento as well, and he comes through with a base hit, the first allowed by Olivares. A 1-out single in the second by Segui.
For Omar Olivares, his game is keeping the ball down. He's a sinker slider type pitcher, occasional fork ball or split finger pitch as well. This ball was up, middle in, and Segui smokes it into right field for the base hit.
Now Edgar Martinez, who has come on strong for a long time now. 405 over his last 22 games to get his average up from 254, where you never expect to see Edgar Martinez, to an even 300. Martinez, a career .317 hitter, but only reached 300 for the first time this year 2 weeks ago. Has not had much success in his career against Omar Olivares. Has 1 for 11 lifetime, 091 in this matchup. And it's ball 1 low and away. 11 homers, 41 RBIs for Martinez.
Now Lou's trying to be patient, relax, take it all in. A big hole on that right side for Edgar Martinez, and with Olivares trying to stay away, I would think Edgar's going to try to shoot one through that side.
Olivares trying to stay away from him, and this is again 2-0.
Justin Bachman, the second baseman, is really playing double play depth and shading Edgar up the middle. There's a big hole on that right side. They're really playing Edgar to pull, and he hits the ball to right field as well as anybody.
That time nails down the low outside area he was shooting for in those first 2 pitches, and it's 2-1.
Good sinking fastball, had a lot of movement on it, and really just painted the outside corner. And even a great hitter like Edgar Martinez has to tip his hat to Olivares on that pitch. Good location. Now, the Mariners don't run a whole lot, so they're throwing over there on Segui, but Lou Piniella really doesn't have a lot of speed in this lineup.
Just going to say Segui has only stolen 1 base all year, but Olivares fairly wary, and again on the outside portion of the plate. Even it up at 2-2.
The home plate umpire, Fielding Coolbrith, makes the call, and Edgar's not too happy on the last pitch for sure. See Nevin sitting on the outside corner.
Might have an argument.
He tries to pull it up and in toward his chest to help the umpire a little bit. Might have been off the plate. A pretty good location. If you're going to miss, that's where you want to miss. Down and away.
Coolbrith behind the plate. Jim Joyce is at first base. Al Clark, the umpire, at second. Jim McKean is at third.
Coolbrith behind the plate usually has a very fair strike zone. Seen him many times in the American League, and he usually calls it very accurately.
Every pitch has been aimed at that low outside corner, and he's hit it twice and now missed it 3 times to run the count full.
Well, 3-2 count with 1 out. I think even David Segui would probably be in motion here with Martinez at the plate.
And he is, and Martinez swings and misses. Throw down, gets through the second baseman Bachman, but DeSarcina sliding after it in short right field. Make sure Segui can't advance past second. First strikeout recorded by Olivares. Now the rest of Lou Pinella's lineup. Glenn Allen Hill having a terrific year, hitting .303. 12 home runs will be next. He's in left field. Dan Wilson is the catcher batting 8th, and Jeff Houston getting a start at second base. Segui with the in-game box, the only Mariner base runner so far with the 1-out single here in the second. And here's Glenn Allen Hill.
And look for him to swing first pitch. 44% of the time, Glenn Allen Hill will swing at the first pitch if it's over the plate.
It wasn't. He held off, and it was just inside.
And the league knows that, so what they try to do is really make careful pitches early in the count on Hill, see if he can get himself out. They don't want to challenge him, especially with a runner in scoring position.
Olivares concentrating inside against Hill. It's the opposite of his Martinez approach, and again falls behind. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, Hill's got a lot of power middle in. If you make a mistake, that's where he will take you deep. He's got 12 home runs. They've got an open base at first base.
This one is chopped to DeSarcina. He will make the throw on the run. The fielder has to make the tag, which he does in time to get Hill. A rare inaccurate throw by DeSarcina, but fielder able to handle it. 1 hit, nothing across in the second for Seattle.
Never know how much I love you. Never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight. Fever.
Bruce Willis, Richard Gere, Sidney Poitier. For explosive suspense, set your sights on the Jackal. The Jackal. Rented tonight.
Have you seen the Elf? The Elf does its magic with advanced photo system film. Presto, it's loaded. Now take super shots in 3 different sizes. Have you seen all the Elves? From Canon.
When I was a kid, I remember going to the Boys and Girls Club. There was this one teacher.
That's great, Frank.
Miss Franklin. She always encouraged me.
Right. Come on, Frank. You can do it.
Especially when it came to baseball. It was a great experience.
There you go.
That's why I'm glad I can give something back to the Boys and Girls Club. Especially to Miss Franklin.
Come on, Miss Franklin. You can do it. Come on. Here we go. Let's make this play.
Major League Baseball charities and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, giving kids a world of opportunities.
Frank.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Nintendo 64 Sports. Edison, the International Field in Anaheim. Dave Barnett and Kevin Kennedy. Bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Anaheim Angels with the bottom third of the order. Phil Nevin, the catcher, who rips one in the booth right next to us. For strike one, Nevin to be followed by Justin Bachman and Gary DiSarcina. Angels get a run in the bottom half of the first. Dave Hollins walks, driven home a few batters later by Tim Salmon. Nevin with a liner right to Jeff Hewson, the second baseman. And a lovely view on a really clear night. Southern California. Aerial pictures courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Eagle, based in Carson, California. Goodyear recently increased its blimp fleet to 6. 2 airships added in Europe, 1 in South America. Justin Bachman, the second baseman, hitting .263, a homer and 9 RBIs. And he goes right after the first offering as well from Fassero.
This is Terry Collins' type of player. Scrappy type guy. Will spray the ball around. Runs extremely well. A couple of years ago in A-ball, Lake Elsinore, he stole 68 bases, so he can fly.
Bachman again sends that one foul right side. You notice a little extra protection in the batting helmet. He recently missed a week. He was hit in the face by a line drive by Curtis Goodwin of Colorado. Had a concussion, had over 60 stitches to his lips. Says it only hurts when I laugh. He does not remember. Thankfully, he doesn't remember the actual impact of the line drive off the bat of Goodwin. Anybody who saw it would remember it. It left Bachman unconscious. Terry Collins said he has never seen anyone get hurt that badly from that far away. But he just had a hard time picking it up, and it cost him a week. But he has returned, and he has a base hit on a one-hopper in front of Ken Griffey. Third hit by the Angels. Let's check in right now with Reese Davis in the studio.
All right, guys. Cardinals went to the ninth with a 5-2 lead against the Astros. It's 5-3 when Jeff Bagwell, with a man on against Jeff Brantley, unloaded and tied the thing up at 5-5. And then the Astros on Brad Ausmus RBI single have now won the thing 6-5.
Well, Cardinals, even with Mark McGwire, now 3 games under 500, 9.5 back at Houston in the National League Central. Mariners at the moment 12 back of the Anaheim Angels in the American League West. Gary DiSarcina, big reason for this start by Anaheim at .312, a career high average, 2 homers, 26 RBIs.
This is an ideal running 1-2 tandem at the bottom of the order for Terry Collins. A very, very fast runner in the 8th spot, Justin Bachman, and you got DiSarcina, who Terry Collins loves to hit and run with anyway, in the 9th spot, and that's by design. That's the reason.
So briefly getting away from Segui, but unfortunately for Bachman, it will right back toward Fassero.
Well, it gets more fastballs for DiSarcina with a fast runner at first base. Fassero has a quick step off, and there's that good fielding David Segui taking one maybe in the cup area. For the team, as we say. He took that one. Saved another Mariner error that right there.
You mentioned his only error this year last night early on in what became a 3-2 Anaheim win.
That's the speed of Justin Bachman. The word is out that this guy can fly, and Fassero tried to go over there very quickly. Segui saved it.
Not going here, and that misses. 2 balls and no strikes. DiSarcina 4 days ago, a 5-for-5 game with a couple of doubles and a triple and 4 RBIs at Texas as the Angels won 3 out of 4 in Arlington to get within a half game of first, and then passing Texas last night with the Rangers' loss to the A's and trailing in the 9th inning again to Oakland 3-2 are the Rangers.
Fassero's been rushing to the plate because he's worried about the runner at first base, Bachman.
DiSarcina enough to worry about, though. 426 over his last 15 games, 23 of his last 54.
Well, it's an ideal running count right now. 3-1. DiSarcina at the plate, 1 out. Fassero's going to try to throw a strike, maybe something on the outside corner to DiSarcina.
Another check of Bachman, though.
Situation if they go outside with the second baseman, they probably switch coverage. The second baseman will hold. The shortstop, Alex Rodriguez, would probably cover on the steal.
Bachman 3 out of 5 in attempted steals this year. Weak, but not fielded cleanly by Fassero, and he throws it away in his haste to try and nail DiSarcina. Bachman will be held at third. DiSarcina on to second. As Fassero makes 2 fielding mistakes, doesn't pick it cleanly, and then throws it away.
Lou Piniella has seen that many times too often this season. This ball just handcuffs him, hits softly off the end of the bat, and Jeff tries to recover. Bachman running on the pitch. Husson is charging. He was not covering second. And Fassero barehands it and then compounds things by throwing the ball past David Segui. He couldn't save that one. 2 errors on the play. 63 now for the season. That leads the American League in errors and last in fielding percentage in the American League.
2 errors charged to Fassero, and back to the top of the order in Darren Erstad with only 1 out, 2 in scoring position for Anaheim, and he goes after the first pitch. And a foul pop. Gibson will handle right in front of the Anaheim dugout for a quick out number 2.
First pitch slider to Darren Erstad. He pulled off it. Tried to hit the ball somewhere in the air, preferably the left center, and he pulled off the ball a little bit for the easy pop foul out to Charles Gibson. Big out for Jeff Fassero.
Erstad 0 for 2. Hollins, who walked and scored at this point the only run of the game. That walk in the first, followed by base hits by Edmonds and Salmon. So with Bachman at third, DiSarcina at second, Hollins in an RBI situation. He's driven 20 on the year, and he does almost the identical foul pop. Gibson not able to bring this one in, though, even as he leaps off that top step into the Angel dugout.
Pretty impressive effort by Charles Gibson. He went to the top step of the Angels dugout and then jumped in there to try to make the play. He just missed that ball.
No, that's his dugout. They're over there directing him, helping him.
There's no help.
More step. Absolutely no aid whatsoever in that dugout.
You go in there at your own risk when you're going into the opposing team's dugout. Pretty nice effort. I've seen him play center field many times. He's an outstanding outfielder.
This one fairly deep, but Griffey loping back in left center field and a couple of steps in front of the warning track handles it, and so the errors do not cost Jeff Fassero. And through 2 at Edison Field, 1-0.
This is life. This is getting every mile you can out of life. And this is how you get there. Kelly Safari radios are engineered for long mileage. Of course, that's no guarantee you'll live harder or go farther. Just an invitation.
Were you born without a soul?
Excuse me?
You don't know how to love, do you?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about this.
It's just an oil filter.
Just an oil filter? Look, nothing stops more dirt than America's #1 brand of oil filter, Fram. Now get out of here. How do you live with yourself?
Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now, or pay a lot later.
Play Pepsi Pop Culture. Just drink Pepsi or Mountain Dew. Match winning phrases and win tons of cool prizes. From cash to trips, even a new Jeep Wrangler. Pepsi Pop Culture. Drink, match, win. Hey, all these amazing prizes are just waiting to be won in Pepsi Pop Culture. So come on, play.
You don't need much in your pockets, just 99 cents for Wendy's Junior Bacon Cheeseburger with 2 strips of bacon made fresh so it's hot and juicy.
Excuse me, this must be yours.
There it is. Get one today.
1-0 Angels. We move to the top of the third. Dan Wilson, the Seattle catcher, batting 8th against Omar Olivares, who has allowed only a David Segui single through the first 2. Wilson at .235. 3 homers, 26 RBIs. Takes a shot on the right side and grounds it to Justin Bachman for a quick out number 1.
Omar Olivares has excellent location so far tonight. Spotting the ball in the outside corner with a lot of movement, a lot of sinking action on his ball. And that's why he's getting so many ground ball outs right now.
Jeff Houston will be the batter, getting a rare start at second base tonight. Since May 2nd has only had 19 at bats. He's 5 for 19 in 12 appearances over right at a month and a half. 7th start. I beg your pardon. He's got 6 starts at third. This is his 2nd start of the year at second. He's also started twice at first base, played off the bench, some at short, some at right, and some at DH. So you're all around utility man. Former Expo Ranger, spent last year with the Milwaukee Brewers. And up now, 3 balls and no strikes in the count to Olivares.
Well, with the right-handed hitters up, Olivares was hitting the outside corner frequently. Now he's got the left-hand hitter up, and he's missed 3 times on the other side of the plate.
And a 4-pitch walk to the number 9 hitter, hitting 190 for the year.
Well, he had a period of 3 right-handed hitters in a row, and he was locking in on that outside corner. He had Edgar Martinez, Glenn Allen Hill, and Dan Wilson. Now the left-hander Houston up there. Olivares tries to go to the other side of the plate and couldn't get his location.
So here's Charles Gibson, the rookie from the neighboring community, Orange, California. Originally 25 years of age, Memphis and Tacoma last year. That one hit him, so they are trying to put together an uprising in the top of the third against the previously almost untouchable Olivares, with Omar battling his control. A 4-pitch walk to Houston, and this one riding inside, and Gibson just lets that hit him about hip high.
There's a side view right there where he hit Charles Gibson. To right-handed hitters, once again, he was painting the outside corner very well, but he's thrown 5 pitches now to the inside part of the plate to right-handers, and he's missed location because the front shoulder is flying open too soon, and his arm is getting long away from his head. He's getting sidearm, and ball's running up and into the right-handed hitters.
And now you're asking for trouble because you got A-Rod, Griffey, and Buhner all in the line with 1 out and 2 on in the third. Rodriguez, who grounded 6-3 in the first.
Olivares has to stay closed up, lead with the hip and the shoulder, and drive it toward the inside corner. And he's letting that front shoulder fly open too soon, and his arm is getting, and his hand is getting underneath the ball.
A-Rod, as you saw, twice as many homers as this time a year ago. The average has dipped below 300, but the production skyrocketed. Second only to Griffey with those 24 homers. He leads the American League with 16 road home runs. Griffey is second with 14 away from the kingdom. And in a real productive month, over his last 30 games, 11 of those homers and 24 of his 51 RBIs, almost half of them coming in the last month. And he's got a hitter's count at 2-0, takes a shot and fouls it back into the mezzanine. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Seattle comes in with 112 home runs, number 1 in the American League. Of those 112, 65 have been solo home runs, and that's an unusually high mark. Of the 2-run and 3-run type home runs, they have 32 2-run home runs, 14 3-run home runs, and 1 grand slam. The point is, many of their home runs of those 112 have been solo, and that's why they've been losing a lot of games 4-3 with 3 home runs.
Bounced through up the middle for a base hit. Coming home is Houston. And we're tied 1-1. Gibson hanging on at second on the RBI single, number 52. Run driven in this year by A-Rod.
This ball was out over the plate and up. Nevin wanted the ball in. Location was missed away. Alex Rodriguez just drives it on the ground right back through the middle for the RBI single.
So Ken Griffey Jr. will step in. He grounded to second in the first inning. On a 60 homer pace, not for the first time in his career. 26 through 70 games, 60 runs batted in, which is second only to Gonzalez of Texas. Could be two. Fielder has to go to his knee, but hangs on the relay, and it is a double play off the bat of Griffey on the first pitch from Olivares. He erases big potential trouble, but the Mariners managed to tie it on A-Rod's RBI.
The movie is coming. 2 free tickets can be yours. Go to Oldsmobile. Drive the intrigue. Move quickly.
Intrigue by Oldsmobile. Drive the intrigue. See the movie.
Let me tell you something about heroes. They ain't like you and me. Look at Griffey. The way he taps the spikes and grows the tee, punches the glove and flips the lid, signs the hat, eats the dirt, and twirls the lumber, warms it up and works the crowd. The way he holds the pose, slams the wall, anticipates, and always thanks his mother. Let me tell you about guys like him. They ain't just playing stick.
This is Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. with Reality Bat for infinite swings. It's only on N64, only on Nintendo Sports.
Business is a race. For a head start, the Xerox DocuColor 40 lets you print or copy 40 color pages in just 60 seconds. Because in the business world, the tortoise never wins. The Document Company, Xerox.
Night descending on Edison Field in Anaheim. 1-1. We head to the bottom of the third. Mariners and the Angels. Sunday night, 2 of the American League's best collided to Jake in ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill looking to keep the Yankees on their record pace. Kenny Lofton and Jim Thome will run and gun for the Indians in a great matchup on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Edmonds, Salmon, and Fielder, bottom of the third for Anaheim against Jeff Fassero, who starts Jim Edmonds with a strike. Edmonds singled in the first. Improved the average a bit to 317. And if you look at the offensive categories in the American League, he is all over the place. 10th in runs scored, tied for 10th in total bases, tied for third with 22 doubles, 8th in slugging percentage, 571, 7th, 36 extra base hits, tied for 4th in intentional walks, and he's in there defensively as well, and that's hardly a surprise either. 6 outfield assists, tied for 6th in the American League with Griffey.
And all you hear about are trade rumors for Jimmy Edmonds. You heard it last year and been hearing it recently the last couple of weeks this year, but I don't see how they could trade a guy like this, especially with Tim Salmon unable to play defense. They wanted to move Darren Erstad to the outfield, and tonight he is in left field. And Fielder is at first base, so Tim Salmon can DH.
Yeah, with the Salmon situation unlikely to change for the rest of the year. Somebody, a very nice catch up there in the front row of the upper deck. And letting you know about it, too. Salmon is just hoping he can get through the rest of the year limping along. He does not expect it to get any better until he gets an entire offseason of rest. And so when you take him out of the outfield equation for the Angels, it's really hard to contemplate also taking out Edmonds.
Well, there's no chance that Jimmy Edmonds should be or could be traded right now. The Angels are in first place. This guy's an all-star caliber player. We've talked about his offense. This is a ball middle in right here that he just fights off. You see him bailing. He knows it's got a chance to bite the inside corner, so he protects the plate so he doesn't get rung up on a third strike. But he's also a great defensive player.
Outside corner, and he knew it. Second strikeout for Jeff Fassero.
It's tough to protect both sides of the plate. Fassero went inside. Now he goes back outside. And that was just paint on the black. Jimmy Edmonds knew it.
One gone in the third. Tim Salmon, who drove in the Anaheim run in the first, looks at the strike.
Fassero now starting to work both sides of the plate very well. Paints Timmy Salmon on the outside corner.
They haven't faced each other too often, but Salmon with the clear upper hand. Now 4 for 7 lifetime against Fassero, with 2 home runs among those 4 hits. He is easily the biggest worry in this Anaheim lineup for Fassero in terms of past matchups. It's this one on a rope, but right at the left fielder, Glenn Allen Hill. And out number 2.
Well, there are just some pitchers you see extremely well, and Tim Salmon obviously sees Fassero very well. This was a slider middle in, and he hit it on a line, but right at Glenn Allen Hill for another hard out for Tim Salmon.
Cecil Fielder, who struck out his first time up. Moving from one coast to another. Won a ring with the Yankees, hoping to do the same with the Angels. Limited to just 98 games with the Yankees last year, though, and with 11 home runs, just 2 below his total for all of 97. 2 months missed with a torn ligament in his thumb last year. And playing some at first, he has not started even as much as half a season at first base since 1994 with the Tigers. That one out of play, still 1-2.
Well, the reason for that is because Tim Salmon is really limited to designated hitter role or pinch hitting role, and that gets Cecil Fielder's bat in the lineup as well as Darren Erstad.
That one again out of play. Fielder brought over as a free agent, and even out of practice doesn't mind playing the field. He says it makes him more intense in this part of the game. It's easier to concentrate with the proper intensity offensively when you have the defense to take your mind off of it. Some would say, well, a DH you'd think would be easier to think about your offense if you don't have to worry about your defense.
Well,
it's just the opposite.
Some guys prefer to DH, others don't. I remember Bobby Bonilla came over from the National League to Baltimore. It drove him crazy to DH, so he wanted to play the outfield or third base, and eventually was traded on away from Baltimore.
Fassero looking to put him away and misses. Low and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
All things being equal, Dave, Darren Erstad is the Angel first baseman and Tim Salmon is the right fielder. Cecil was signed to DH, but with the injury to Salmon, that's why Cecil's at first, and tonight Erstad's in left field.
Well, making Fassero work. Fielder with the strikeout tonight, 1 for his last 22. He has hit another ditch after he heated up. He had a 14 for 32 spell with 4 homers over 8 games, drove in 14 runs in that 8-game period.
Fassero got him on the forkball the last time up, got him swinging.
This one is ripped to left for a base hit. So he waited and fouled off pitch after pitch until he got the one he was looking for.
Well, Fassero elects to go with a fastball in the 2-2 count, middle in, and Cecil was right on it. See his eyes light up. Good swing, about belt high. He's fortunate Cecil didn't hit that ball out of the ballpark. Hit it on a line sharply into left field for the base hit.
Boy, when he gets the pitch he wants, you know it. When you look at that look of intensity, that's got to be one of the more, still one of the more frightening looks that a pitcher can see. His eyes popping out of the skull like that. Garrett Anderson takes a strike.
Oh, we really saw him loading up on the backside, a big hitch, and getting that weight on the backside. And I've seen him many, many times hit balls on the roof in Tiger Stadium when he was with the Tigers. So Fassero's fortunate that ball wasn't hit out of the ballpark, because that was up, and that's a pitch Cecil hits for a long ball.
Well, but quickly ahead of Anderson. Fassero got to bounce back to him on the mound to end the first.
Well, Collins likes to run, but not with Cecil Fielder. David Segui is playing behind Fielder. Give a little more range on the right side in case Anderson rolls over a ball.
Chopped right at Segui and makes a nice backhand pickup, and the toss to Fassero. So only the one hit by Fielder in the third. We are through 3 at Edison Field in Anaheim, and we're tied 1-1. Buhner will lead.
If you're an investor looking to make more profit with your money, you need to know that the foreign exchange market has 60 times the volume of the New York Stock Exchange. That's a fact. Trump Financial Group can show you how. By investing in the foreign exchange market, you can take advantage of the strength of the U.S. dollar versus foreign currencies like the Swiss franc, the Deutsche Mark, the British pound, and the Japanese yen. Let's look at this in detail. Let's say you wanted to invest in the yen. The yen moved 10 points between January 7th and February 7th, 1998. Properly positioned, you could have made $35,000 on a $5,000 investment. Now that's real money. But that's just one example. Now with Trump Financial Group, you can invest in the same markets that the major banks and financial institutions use to turn big profits. Really big profits. Call now for a free complete information package explaining the advantages of the foreign markets. There is no obligation and it's free. Learn how with Trump Financial Group you can turn a $5,000 investment into as much as $35,000. Let Trump Financial Group show you the money. Follow a winner. Call now. Don't let this one pass you by.
$500 miles from your driveway. 20 miles from the border. 10 feet from home. Recreation vehicles. Wherever you go, you're always at home. Call today for a free video or visit an RV dealer near you.
International law applies to all countries. Those who break the law must pay. This is no game. This is World Cup.
France, Saudi Arabia, tomorrow at 2:30 on ESPN.
Reese Davis with you, the A's and the Rangers. Kenny Rogers was cruising along with a shutout until the bottom of the 8th. Roberto Kelly, a 2-run job. Rangers within 1, but then Bill Taylor steps in there, closes the door, his 13th save. The A's win it 3-2, meaning that the Rangers are a full game behind the Angels now, guys.
Rangers lose for the 5th time in the last 6 games. 1 full game back, as you said, Reese. And Jay Buhner leads off in the bottom of the 4th by banging that one right back up the middle. And Justin Bachman managed to get a glove on it.
First ball slider by Olivares. Buhner hits it off the end of the bat, but right back through the middle. And he's running pretty well on that knee that he got operated on.
Buhner just activated last Thursday. He left the lineup originally in the 6th inning of the 6th game of the season with inflammation in the knee. Had it scoped April 28th. They realigned the kneecap for him, and 7 different Mariners played right field in his absence. Glad to have him back. David Segui, who got the first Mariner hit, and then stole second in the 2nd.
That's a whole different Mariner lineup when you've got Buhner in the 4 spot hitting behind Griffey. You can put a switch hitter, David Segui, in the 5 spot, and a perennial 300 hitter, Edgar Martinez, tonight in the 6th spot. pretty good offensive lineup. However, as we've touched on, they lead the American League in home runs, but half of those are solo. They just don't open up ball games, or haven't been able to so far this year. And with this bullpen and the pitching staff going the way it is for Seattle, they need to open up ball games.
I think he did miss Buhner in 59.5 games. He missed the fill-ins at right field. Hit a combined 173, 6 homers, 20 RBIs in just about 2 months.
And if you look at Seattle in one-run games, they're 3-14.
4-pitch walk to Segui, and Olivares in trouble for the second consecutive inning. So the American League West with Anaheim in charge by a full game, having passed Texas last night for the first time since April 9th. Oakland making a move now. It's 5 games under 500, and Seattle, if they win tonight, will move 11 games back. It's a long-range project, Kevin, that they're looking at.
You know that Terry Collins is very well aware of it, too.
Martinez off the fist for a double play as Buhner advances to third. That really helps Omar Olivares' cause here in the 4th inning.
This is exactly what we're talking about. Can they open up a ball game? They have not been able to. This is a fastball up and in. Edgar gets jammed. DiSarcina with the left foot on the bag, and an easy 6 unassisted to first double play. I say, though, Dave, that Terry Collins, you scoreboard watch this early in the season? Absolutely.
How can you not? I mean, it's right out there staring you in the face.
That's what I'm saying.
Every night.
You betcha. Absolutely. They know they're in first place now. They don't want to look back. That's the key now. Just take care of yourself and go forward.
Strike one to Hill. As a manager, is the question not do you watch the scoreboard, but when do you try to use it as a motivational factor for your team?
Well, I think they used the motivational factor with that fight they had with Kansas City. I think that was one thing. And of course, with Terry Collins being out 8 days, they went 6-2. They went into Texas, won 3 out of 4. Of course, they're watching to see what Texas does. And now they're playing a team, the Mariners, that have been a very tough ball club against Anaheim. And this is a big series. They win last night. It's a big game tonight. And of course, they have one more tomorrow night. But they remember a few years ago, 1995, where the Angels had a 10-game lead in August, and Seattle came back and beat them. Knocked them out of the playoffs.
Matter of fact, that was the last time the Mariners were this far out of first place.
Well, that's the other thing. It's June the 17th, and Seattle still has a chance to come back, even though Texas and the Angels are far ahead of them. Texas is slumping right now and can make up a lot of games in a short period of time in the major leagues.
August of 95, August 2nd, in fact, of 95, they were 13 back, and that was the low point. Before that 95 club began the miracle comeback, and of course eventually won the American League West, and then knocked off the Yankees, and then had the memorable ALCS defeat at the hands of the Indians.
Well, they've got to get their ace going, Randy Johnson. He's the guy that stops losing streaks and creates and maintains winning streaks. They've got to get him going. And of course, the focus has been, is he going to be traded? Is he going to be a Mariner the rest of this year? There's still rumors about him going to Los Angeles. I still hear him creeping up here on different talk shows. And right now, he has to worry about being a Seattle Mariner and trying to win for them.
Well, barely staying alive. Well, the deal apparently all but done with the Dodgers, and then pulled away at the last minute by Upper Mariner management. And Griffey says that has left an uncomfortable feeling of uncertainty, like a black cloud over the entire team, because we know how much he's hurting. It hurts us to watch him pitch as ineffectively as he has with this uncertainty hanging over him. It has really infected the whole ball club. Hill with an easy grounder to DiSarcina. And even though they get the first 2 aboard in the 4th, they get nothing across. Thanks to the double play. Still 1-1 in Anaheim.
You never know when it's going to happen, but when it does, you'll never forget it.
Excuse me, sir? Do you know how to get to the freeway from here?
The first time someone calls you sir. At a moment like this, head to your Mitsubishi retailer and get a sporty new 98 Eclipse. Right now with just 0.9% APR financing for 48 months. Hurry, you don't have much time. Is your life built for Mitsubishi?
What's this stuff? Yuck! No. I'm out of here, Jack. Whoa! I got standards, you know. Nice try, big fella. Going up! Look out, I'm coming through. See ya!
If you want the best, come to your Sherwin-Williams store. It's the only place to get Sherwin-Williams paint.
Everyone into the pool. Oh,
When only the best will do, ask Sherwin-Williams.
Proud of my sport. Proud to dominate the 80s. Proud not to back down from the 90s. Proud to be 43 years old. Proud to play in a new era.
I convinced the senior partner to get new PCs. He said, will they work with what we have? And who's going to take care of them?
I said, relax, Dad. It's under control.
When you call Gateway, we'll custom build servers and PCs just for your business, featuring Intel Pentium 2 processors and backed by service that never expires.
I never should have shown him how to email.
Call us, and let's talk about your Gateway.
Reese Davis here, checking in on the Dodgers and the Padres. Tony Gwynn rocketing one toward right center. Raul Mondesi makes the grab, slams into a pole behind that padding on the wall. He was down for a while, but stayed in the game. Valdez got out of bases loaded, nobody out, jam in the fourth, and we're still tied, guys.
Well, we're still tied, too. 1-1. We move to the bottom of the fourth. Phil Nevin leading things off for Anaheim. We'll have back-to-back freeway series. They'll be utilizing the freeways next week. 2 games here in Anaheim with the Dodgers Monday and Tuesday, and a Dodger Stadium Wednesday and Thursday. And then the Angels go on further down the coast and have 3 at San Diego's. Move back into interleague play next week. Seattle will be at San Diego next Wednesday. That's one of our offerings next week here on ESPN. One and 2 to Nevin. Line to Houston his first time up. And down on strikes, the 3rd strikeout recorded by Jeff Fassero.
Jeff Fassero's outpitched the fork ball. He got 2 strikes on Nevin, went to the fork ball, bottom dropped out of it for strike 3. Excellent location by Jeff Fassero. Really working both sides of the plate pretty well right now. Paints you away, he'll backdoor his slider. Now he's coming in.
Finds the corner against Bachman is 1 for 1. Singled. Got as far as 3rd in the 2nd inning. And Fassero, a little over a hit per inning, but the 1 run was unearned. Only the 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. Bailed himself out after he committed the 2 errors on the 1 play by DeSarcina, or off the bat of DeSarcina last inning, by getting Erstad to foul out to 3rd and Hollins to fly out to center, squaring up, and sends that one all the way over the screen.
We talked about the speed of Justin Bachman. He runs up to bunt. He looks to do it at least once or twice a game. Easy for me to say.
1 or 2 times a game. Or once or twice a game. Either way works.
But Gibson now moves back. He was up at 3rd base, and now he moves back. My tongue got in the way.
Hey, when that happens. Looper, shallow right. Houston will give way to Buhner. Runs well enough to take that one for out number 2.
Now, they not only missed Jay Buhner's offense, but he's an outstanding right fielder. Calls Houston off on the easy pop fly.
So here's DeSarcina, whose grounder was first mishandled by Fassero, and then Fassero threw it away, trying to nail him at first, so he reached second before Erstad and Hollins were retired. Looked as if the Angels had a brewing to maybe open this thing up, but DeSarcina an easy out here and an easy 1-2-3 fourth inning for Fassero. And we are 3 through 4 at Edison Field. 1-1 Anaheim and Seattle.
What's the hottest thing to happen to pizza? The new Domino's Heat Wave. It works like a portable oven, delivering a pizza that's really hot, really bubbly, and really worth smiling about. Now a large with up to 3 toppings is just $9.99.
Introducing the all-new 1999 Grand Am. Its solid form design provides a stronger body structure so you can get down to some exciting business with hardly a squeak.
Solid.
Excitement, well built. The all-new Grand Am by Pontiac.
Lawrence Johnson's got foot action. He wears the Universal from Adidas. So how come you haven't heard of him yet? Because he's not a sprinter. He's a pole vaulter. Sprinters may get to glory, but deep down, they're just pole vaulters who are scared of heights. For every action, there's foot action.
Chef Paul of Bowman's makes the best steaks in town, the Herald. Chef Paul is the maestro of marinade, the Herald. Chef Paul's reputation is built on his marinade alone, the Herald.
Chef Paul's secret ingredient is actually A1.
Chef Paul questioned about missing assistant, the Herald. The secret to great steak isn't just for great steakhouses anymore. A1, a marinade, a seasoning, a 136-year-old secret.
Dave Barnett, Kevin Kennedy in Anaheim, Wilson, Houston, and Gibson in the top half of the 5th inning for Seattle in a 1-1 tie against Omar Olivares, who starts Wilson with a strike, rounded to second his first time up. Olivares spent part of last year, Kevin, with the Mariners, traded from Detroit in July along with Felipe Lira, had 1 win in his 12 starts for the Mariners. They did not see the Omar Olivares that the Angels have seen this year. He's been one of the better pitchers in the American League. 4th in ERA, 275, 5th in opponent batting average. They're hitting just .233 against the 4-2 Olivares this year.
He's always had very good stuff, and what I mean by that is he's had a sinking fastball and a hard slider, mixes in a curveball. Very live arm, very loose arm. Command has been a problem. He's walked a lot of guys in the past. Sometimes this year he walks too many guys. And what he has done, he's taken the opportunity that's been given to him by Terry Collins when Jack McDowell went down over a month ago with the elbow problem, and he's made the most of it. And that's exactly why Terry Collins signed Olivares. He was their long man out of the bullpen, and in case something happened to one of the starters, he could put Olivares out there, and Omar's made the most of it.
Collins, before the game, summed it up with 1 word. He says he is confident this year. He wants to take advantage of this opportunity, and he's doing it.
Well, and Seattle,
there's nothing at all he's doing different physically. He said no, he's just thinking about it better.
No, his stuff is the same. That's why I say velocity, movement, it's all the same.
This one moves pretty deep into left center, and it is gone. A home run, just the 4th of the year by the catcher Dan Wilson, leading off the 5th to give the Mariners a 2-1 lead.
Here's the pitch by Olivares. Look at the location. It's up. Belt high, right down the middle. Danny Wilson gets it all. That's why the ball's driven out. Omar Olivares' game is sinking fastball down and away or down and in. That ball was left out over the plate. It's his 9th home run that he's given up.
Suddenly, that is the Olivares that the Mariners saw last year. Unfortunately, that's what he was doing for them instead of against them.
I was going to say, Seattle is not a real easy situation to get into when you go up there and pitch in that ballpark and on AstroTurf, especially when you're a sinker ball pitcher, unless your defense is absolutely outstanding. And last year, Seattle did not have David Segui on the right side. Joey Cora has had some problems. Russ Davis was there last year.
Well, he makes quick work of Jeff Houston.
It's a ballpark where the ball jumps, and so he didn't have a good time in Seattle a year ago. Good pitch right here. Look at the movement. Comes back over the inside corner, and Jeff Houston gets caught looking. No, he's still got great movement. That was a mistake pitch to Wilson, and when you make a mistake on a major league hitter, they're going to hurt you. No matter who it is.
Just the second strikeout. Back to the top of the order, and Charles Gibson, who got the start at Russ Davis's spot in third tonight. Got hit by a pitch last time up. Gibson hitting .286 coming in. The 0-1 pitch. 4 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Gibson is an outstanding defensive player, as we have talked about tonight. The problem with Charles Gibson, and the jury's out on him if he can hit in the major leagues. He's only been a .240 to .250 hitter in the minor leagues.
But just in case he can handle third, Davis worked some before the game today at second base and some at left field. Second base being the other major defensive worry. So Joey Cora sitting tonight, as is Davis. You see right there, and it's 2-2. And Piniella trying to weigh all his various defensive options.
Joey Cora right there next to Randy Johnson. Well, Lou has nothing to lose. When you're in last place and you're last in fielding, it's time to make some adjustments. That's what Lou Piniella is doing. Got nothing to lose by putting a couple of guys out there like Houston and Gibson.
He says it's hard to believe, playing as much as they do on artificial turf, that they aren't at least in the top half in defense. And he says why we are at the bottom this year, last year, every year is just beyond him. There's too many innings where they make their pitchers get 4 outs, 5 outs, 6 outs, and that snowballs. And what really makes it hard for him to figure is they have some very good defensive individuals out there. People like Griffey and Rodriguez and Segui and Wilson, among the best you're going to find.
Pretty
defensively
good.
At those spots. It's the other spots that aren't even close that bring him down.
Absolutely right. Don't forget Jay Buhner again in right field. Left field's been a little bit of a problem defensively. Well, Glenn Allen Hill's had some leg problems. Doesn't cover a lot of ground. Of course, the left side with Russ Davis at third has been the major problem. Blonde hair's popular these days.
Yeah, it is. It's a Chuck Finley effect. Catching on.
David Segui. Yeah, Houston's got the normal haircut. Normal hair.
Three balls and 2 strikes. A-Rod waiting on deck to be followed by Griffey. Mariners trying to turn this into a real uprising against Olivares, with the leadoff home run starting things off the bat of Wilson. And finally, patience pays off for Gibson, who walks on the 3-2 pitch and reaches base for the second consecutive appearance against Olivares.
A lot of movement on the pitch. Just mislocation down and away. Tried to run that ball back over the outside corner. Nevin tried to freeze it for the umpire, Field and Coolbrith, but he wouldn't bite on it. Ball was outside for ball 4.
So now Rodriguez with 1 on and 1 out and 1 in. Olivares, an excellent pickoff move and a very tough guy to run on historically. A-Rod 1 for 2, an RBI single. Drove in Houston. Back in the third. Missing outside. Best year for Olivares, his debut year with the Cardinals back in '91. He was 11-7. ERA of 3.71. Last year for the Tigers and the Mariners, 6-10, 4.97. But Collins seeing enough in him to bring him down to Anaheim. Plug him in when McDowell went down.
Well, there's always going to be a pitching coach or an organization that feels they can help a guy mechanically, and that's the only problem that Olivares has had. Marcel Latchman right there, pitching coach of the Angels. Very good at working with the pitching staff. Very popular here in Anaheim. Very low-key. And Olivares, when he gets into trouble, the reason he loses command is because of the mechanics on the front side. The left shoulder flies open too soon. He tries to throw too hard. We call that overthrowing. And that's when he loses command of the ball. However, everything moves, and that's the whole key in the major leagues. If you can have good location with movement on your pitches, you're going to be very successful in the big leagues. So a guy like Olivares is always going to have a job as long as he's got that movement. His fastball's in the 90s, 91, 92.
Very steady in his 9 starts. He's gone 6 innings or later.
Gibson was running right there. He threw over to first base. Gibson gave it away. Now, that's not a hit and run if he does, because you don't take the bat out of A-Rod's hand. But Gibson was going to run on that particular pitch, so Olivares threw over there.
Checking him again. He has gone at least 6 innings into the 7th or beyond 6 times in his 9 starts, and he has allowed 3 runs or less all 9 starts. Here's a moment ago. Gibson.
A little flinch right there by Gibson. He was going to run, and so Olivares throws over a second time.
Right shoulder gave him away, and Rodriguez again swinging through, just a foul tip that time to even the count at 2-2.
And Terry Collins likes to call a lot of signs from the bench to the catcher. He'll call the throw over, the step off, or the pitch out, and let catcher Phil Nevin know what to relay to Olivares.
Edison Field in Anaheim. Dave Barnett and Kevin Kennedy. 2-1 Mariners. They've just taken the lead here in the top of the 5th on a leadoff home run by Dan Wilson, his 4th of the year. Gibson going. Rodriguez swings and misses the throw in time as Gibson hardly even manages a slide at second base, and a strike him out, throw him out, double play.
Gibson gets the jump. Nevin throws a strike with a quick release.
There's only one Mile High taste. Coors, the original.
There are hundreds of lawnmowers to choose from, with a broad range of quality features designed to meet your needs. But the ones that have the edge to do the job right have one feature in common: a powerful, high-performance Briggs & Stratton engine. Make sure your lawnmower is powered by Briggs & Stratton, the power in power equipment.
Let me tell you something about heroes. They ain't like you and me. Look at Griffey, the way he taps the spikes and grows the tee, punches the glove and flips the lid, signs the hat, eats the dirt, and twirls the lumber, warms it up and works the crowd. The way he holds the pole, slams the wall, anticipates, and always thanks his mother. Let me tell you about guys like him. They ain't just playing stick.
This is Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. with Reality Bat for infinite swings. It's only on N64, only on Nintendo Sports.
This is a new Nissan Maxima, a new Altima, and this is the Nissan $100 Challenge.
Test drive a new 98 Nissan between now and July 6th. Then if you still end up buying or leasing a new 98 Honda or Toyota car or truck within 30 days, we'll give you $100. Of course, if you buy the Nissan, you'll get something even better. A great car at a great price. The Nissan $100 Challenge. Significant restrictions apply. Nissan must receive validated test drive form with required documentation by 8/31/98.
Angels trailing for the first time, but they have the top of the order up against Jeff Fassero in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Aaron Erstad, Dave Hollins, and Jim Edmonds in a 2-1 game. Erstad with a ground out and a foul out. 1 ball and 1 strike, 0 for 2 as he stands in here. Sunday, Kevin, Darren, a loser in the first ever head-to-head meeting of North Dakota natives in the major leagues. He went 0 for 3 against Rick Helling. Aaron from Jamestown, North Dakota, tries to Glenn Allen Hill and left for the first out. Here in the bottom of the 5th. First time that North Dakotans had ever faced each other. And Helling coming away a winner to end a 7-game hitting streak for Erstad. Griffey between innings. Enjoying a light moment with first base umpire
Jim Joyce.
Jim Joyce out in the outfield. Going after the first pitch is Hollins. And Segui leaning over in front of his own dugout to bring that one in. Now that's an instance where you do get some help. Unlike what Gibson faced when he went into the third base dugout earlier.
Yeah, on your own side, David Segui is locked in. He followed the ball. He knew where the stands were. Picks up the ball again. He knew exactly where he was. That's why he sees the ball, and he picks up the wall, picks up the ball again. Of course, right in front of ESPN.
A little support from the camera.
Great defensive play by David Segui.
So Hollins is retired, and here's Jim Edmonds. 1 for 2, singled in the first, struck out last time. He goes after the first pitch, and just as Erstad did, he lines it to Glenn Allen Hill in left field. So a very quick 1, 2, 3, 5th for Jeff Fassero and Seattle. And a nice defensive moment for Segui. A 5-pitch inning. 2-1.
I know, it's just not fair. You get a little older, and what happens? Your hair falls out. What is that? Your hair falls out. Is that your story? Get a little thin up there? You know you can have your hair back at no charge. That's right, there's no cost. I said free. Just call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB and receive your free booklet on how to get your hair back for free. We're the Hair Club for Men. We're not about drugs or surgery. What we are about is adding real human hair into your own. Hair that looks and feels like your own. A natural hairstyle for an active lifestyle. So call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB right now for a free brochure, your free hair, and for a limited time, an added bonus. A free vacation, 3-day, 2-night family vacation package at your choice of major resort hotels. All you have to do is prepay for a basic club plan. That's it. So make the call and get your hair back now by calling 1-800-HAIR-CLUB. That's 1-800-HAIR-CLUB.
Griffey Jr. takes a ball as we open the 6th inning. Griffey to be followed by Jay Buhner and David Segui. Mariners leading 2-1 against Omar, Olivares, and the first place Angels. That's a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Griffey 0 for 2's grounded to second twice, the last time ending in a 4-6-3 double play back in the 3rd. Missing low and in. 2-1. Griffey, one production down quite a bit, average down a little bit, 11 points as opposed to last year, but pretty close to the same home run pace. And he started tonight on a 60 home run pace. League high 26 coming Thursday against Oakland, 7 in his last 14 games. But has not been able to manage much at all against the offerings of Olivares so far tonight as the count runs full.
Fastball that Griffey swings underneath the ball, pulls off it. See his eyes closed. He thought he hit that ball out. He thought he was going to hit that ball out.
Well, all 3 occasions he's come up, he is grounded to the right side, and this time it's handled by fielder with Olivares covering for the first out. World Cup soccer continuing tomorrow, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific in the AM on the Deuce. South Africa's first appearance in a World Cup. With a rich history of soccer in their country. Look for Benedict McCarthy and company. Denmark has been to 1 previous World Cup. They could surprise some folks. And France will take on Saudi Arabia at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 AM Pacific tomorrow. And that's here on the ESPN from France. Ball 1 to Jay Buhner, 1 for 2, single last time up. It doesn't really, Kevin, look like he's running too awkwardly. Swinging the bat okay. That one's on a line right at Bachman.
Well, he didn't have to run too far there. Another good fastball with movement in on the hands to Jay Buhner. But you're right. You're right, Dave. He's running pretty well in the outfield as compared to Tim Salmon, who has not had surgery yet on his foot. Boy, when Timmy hits the ball, he is really limping. Jay Buhner has come back and really ahead of schedule. Wasn't really due back at one point until the All-Star break, so he's come back well ahead of schedule.
David Segui, who has reached on both of his appearances, singled and stole second in the second and then walked in the fourth. Came in tonight 3rd in the American League at 344 and has it up to 347 this appearance. 3rd time in his last 4 years he's at 300 or better. 307 last year with the Expos, with career highs in both homers with 21 and RBIs with 68. And on pace to better those maybe considerably this year. 11 home runs, 48 RBIs. Offensively fits right in, defensively a godsend at first.
And that 2-0 pitch, he had a pretty big swing on. He was looking to drive the ball and hit it out of the ballpark, but Olivares had such great movement and location that Segui hit it off the end of the bat. Count goes to 2-1.
He has terrorized left-handers about as well as any left-handed hitter this year. 332 against lefties. Actually more homers against them, 6 than he has against the righties. 5 homers against right-handers, but hitting 383 against them. Should get a pitch to drive here at 3-1. Backed him off instead, and he is aboard for the 3rd consecutive trip with 2 outs here in the 6th.
We're talking about matchups with Edgar Martinez coming up, who has struck out and grounded into a double play tonight. He comes into this game only 1 for 11 off